Today I'm trying a vintage recipe for a Jalapeño Soufflé from the SPICY Cookbook. If you'd like to try this recipe for yourself, it's written in the description underneath this video. And if you'd like to go straight to the cooking portion, you can skip ahead to this timestamp. You heard that right, the SPICY Cookbook. Furthermore, this was free with the purchase of Listerine back in 1982. This was a gift from my dear friend and next door neighbor, Lindsay. I immediately had to crack this open and look through it because it's too good. It's too good. I mean, Listerine, would you think that a mouthwash disinfectant kind of company would come up with a free cookbook? And do they do that anymore? Probably not that I've seen. If another edition of this exists, I want it. This book did get my hopes up because if you've watched some of my other videos, you may know that I often complain about how vintage recipes are under-seasoned. It's a slim volume, but it packs a punch. I'd like to share just a little bit of the intro. Some of the best tasting and most tantalizing dishes are highly seasoned with aromatic flavors such as black pepper, cloves, curry, garlic, onions, and horseradish. The Spicy Cookbook brings you recipes for 28 highly seasoned dishes. It goes on to say that the recipes in this book are arranged alphabetically by seasoning, which I love. What a neat and tidy way to arrange a cookbook. So you can see here we have the contents, starting with black pepper and ending in Worcestershire. I haven't had to say that word in a while. Ending in Worcestershire sauce. I did it. I wasn't really sure what to expect as far as the quality of recipes go. I mean, I don't know that Listerine has a test kitchen or anything that I'm aware of, but I was pleasantly surprised and found several dishes that I really want to try in here. Like these garlic dill pickles. Yeah, I'd like to give these a try. I really want to try this chili cornbread. It starts off with like a jiffy corn muffin kind of mix. It's got chopped peppers in it, green onion, chili powder, a lot of things to add extra flavor. We're not limited to savory dishes in here. There's a recipe for clove spiced cookies. There's one for a chutney carrot cake. So some really creative use of spicy foods. I mean, when I think of the word spicy, I think like spicy or zesty, kind of like that kind of flavor. But I think this is mostly like highly flavorful dishes or highly flavorful ingredients. They kind of include that in the spicy definition. I loved this illustration on the back. 2 good reasons you should never be without Listerine: onions and garlic. Very clever Listerine. Ultimately, I decided to go with this Jalapeño Soufflé for my video. There's a lot of intriguing things about this. One of them being you put everything together in a blender. I think I've only made like maybe 1 or 2 other soufflés. So I made one last year that was like a chocolate soufflé. And I seem to remember having to whip up egg whites and then fold them in. Whereas this, you just toss everything into your blender, blend it for 30 seconds and go. There's also a lot of different cheeses in this soufflé, which I am a fan of. And yeah, it just seemed like a really good flavorful dish that you could have for like a breakfast or like brunch, even a lunch. I guess you could kind of have it at any time of day, and I love the versatility of a recipe like that. First, I have to prepare a 1-quart soufflé dish. I don't exactly have a soufflé dish, but I do have a lot of these 1-quart casserole dishes, so I'm gonna use that. I have a little bit of softened butter. The recipe says to start by greasing your dish, which is what I'm gonna do. And then it says to coat this with Parmesan cheese. I was super excited about this step. For some reason, it just makes me think that this dish is going to turn out extra special. I haven't made a lot of soufflés before, so I don't know if this is a common step, but I think it's a good one. And there is what the inside of my dish looks like. So next I am going to move on to assembling the soufflé itself. All of the ingredients for this soufflé are combined and assembled in a blender, which is another thing I'm extremely excited about. I have a great feeling about this dish. I have since I got this cookbook from Lindsay and read through it. This is something I immediately wanted to make. I'm hopeful. I think this will turn out well. I have 4 eggs here. I let these sit at room temperature for a little bit. Seems like a good thing to do for a soufflé. I'm not an expert, who knows? And I do know that eggs are super expensive right now. This dish is it's a delicacy. I'm only making fancy things on this channel now. 1/3 of a cup of whipping cream, or half and half. I'm using half and half. 4 ounces of, wow. 4 ounces of brick cheese cut into cubes. You may not be able to find brick cheese where you live. It's a pretty mild, kind of buttery tasting cheese, so you could probably substitute something similar. I wouldn't go for anything sharp. I'm gonna say like maybe an unsmoked provolone, something like that. If you're local to where I live, you can get this cheese at Mark's. This is what I use when I make Detroit style pizza as well. I have 3 ounces of cream cheese cut into cubes and then softened. I did it in the wrong order. I softened it and then I cut it into cubes. So they're kind of like bits. They're not really cubes. And then 1/4 of a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And finally, 2 jalapeno poppers. 2 jalapeno peppers that have been washed, seeded, and cut into pieces. And that's it. Those are all of the ingredients. Now there's no salt, there's no pepper. The only seasoning, spices, etc. will probably be coming from the jalapenos and then maybe like the saltiness of the Parmesan cheese. Okay, it's set to blend for 30 seconds and it's kind of like a pale green milkshake now. So that's what we're looking at right now. Pour that into my prepared souffle dish / casserole dish. Okay, I'm gonna scrape the rest of that out, get all the goodness. The super skinny spatula I have is awesome for that. I'll link one if I can find it. You can certainly smell that like zesty freshness of the pepper. It's definitely there. Here's what it looks like right now before it's gonna go into the oven. So now I have to bake this in a 450-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes. So there is my souffle. It is not perfect, and that's fine. It's still jiggly. I think that's when you're supposed to take a souffle out, is when it's jiggling just a little bit. While it was baking, it made the kitchen smell lovely and toasty and cheesy and kind of caramelized, which I personally find enjoyable. You can definitely smell the jalapeno a little bit in there as well. So I'm gonna try to like scoop it. Probably the best way to go about this. Like I said, I've only ever made one other souffle. It feels done, feels right. Okay, so the edges got really brown from probably the butter and the Parmesan. You can see how brown they are. Oh my gosh, when I cut into that, oh, face full of jalapeno. It's not, you know, I didn't cut it in the most attractive way. It's still really hot, and that's how you're kind of supposed to eat this, I think, so. It's like jalapeno Cheetos, not quite Cheetos. What is that? I don't know, it's just like toasty jalapeno. And you can definitely tell, I'm not sure what comes through on the camera, but you can definitely tell there's like a green tinge to this egg part. Oh, it's like steaming. That's really good. Oh, it's spicy. It is a little spicy. The cookbook's not lying. I mean, it's not super spicy, but it's got that like definite like jalapeno taste to it. It's really good. You know, I was gonna say it could use a little salt, but I think it's fine. You could probably add a little if you wanted to, but it tastes pretty good as is. This makes, it says between 2 and 4 servings. So, you know, if you were gonna do sort of a brunchy main dish, you could cut this in half and serve it with a little salad. Or if you're gonna go like full on breakfast, you could probably get 4 portions if you're gonna go with like fruit and maybe like hash browns and bacon and stuff like that. I think if I made this again, which actually I might, this really is that good. I might take the temperature down a little bit or take this out of the oven a little bit sooner. I set the timer for 35 minutes because that was the minimum. And I even took it out like 2 or 3 minutes early because it just seemed like it was getting really brown. I think this is like the absolute limit of what I would want for brownness. But the taste is delicious. With Lent coming up soon, I could see this being like a really good meatless main dish if you're, you know, if that's something that you do. Or, you know, I know some people are trying to do like a meatless Monday or just do a couple of meatless meals in a week, and this would be a really good one. I think with a couple of tweaks on like the temperature and or baking time, at least on my end, it could just be my oven, this would be just perfect. And I think I will make this again. If you love recipes from the 1970s like I do, I have an entire playlist and I will link it in the description down below. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to see what else I'm up to, you can check me out on Instagram or Facebook. Links to both of those are in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.